Now I'm going to demonstrate how extended access lists are created, and I'm going to do it on router 1, and I'm going to permit I'm going to permit router 201 certain access to router 3 and deny router 201 certain access to router 3. So let's first see if router 201 can telnet to router 3. So I'm going to say telnet 150.101.45.3, which is router 3's address. And right now it's refusing connection to router 201 because I have only permitted PC3 to get to router 3. So I'm going to get rid of my access list here. No access list 10. And then try again. And router 201 should be able to gain connection to router 3. There we go. And I'm inside of router 3. See, the prompt changed. I'm going to exit out. Now, I created a question that we're going to solve using extended access list. I'm saying router 201 should be denied from telnet access to router 3. So let's work these one at a time. So when router 201 tries to telnet to router 3, by default, router 201 is going to use as a source IP address in the telnet session, router 201 is going to use the IP address of the exit interface towards router 3, which is the IP address of the serial 010 interface, which, if we look at our show IP INT brief one more time, is the 200.200.200.2 address. So I am creating this access list on router 1. And I'm going to create a named access list this time, because as we saw, numbered access lists can be dangerous, because if you take away one entry, all entries are automatically deleted. So the new way of doing access lists is to create named access lists. So I'm going to say IP access list extended, and then it's asking me for a name. If I wanted to create an extended access list that's a numbered access list, I simply would have to pick a number between 1 and 199. But we're going to go ahead and create a named access list. So I say IP access list extended, and then a name, CCNA. And see, now my prompt says config extended named access list. At this point, I'm going to say I'm supposed to deny telnet access from R201 to R3. So I'm going to say deny space question mark. Now, I'm denying telnet access. Telnet uses TCP port 23. Telnet uses TCP port 23. So I'm going to deny TCP. Now, my source address. I'm denying router 201's S0/1/0 interface address. So that's going to be deny TCP 200.200.200.3, and then the wildcard. The source is 200.200.200.3 in the packet. And then the wildcard for one address is 0.0.0.0. Then it's asking me for a destination address. So the destination is router 3's F0/0 address, which is 150.101.45.3. And then again, the wildcard 0.0.0.0. I could also say for one address the word host 150.101.45.3. At this point, I hit enter. Now, the next step in my question was router 201 should not be able to ping router 3 using its S0/1/0 address. So I should not be able to ping router 3 using 200, 200, 203 as my source. So once again, I'm going to deny. Now, ping, if you remember, works under the protocol ICMP. So ICMP, if I execute the help feature, is an option I can use. So I'm going to say deny ICMP, and then I'm going to say host for one address, 200.200.200.3, and then I'm denying it to the 150.101.45.3 address, so I can say 150.101.45.3 and use the wildcards of all zeros. I'm mixing and matching the host option and the 00 wildcard option. Both do the same thing. I'm just showing you the different ways it can be done. You can do it either which way, whatever you prefer. Then, my question says that router 201 should be able to ping router 3 using its loopback 0 interface address. So, on router 201, the loopback 0 interface address is 201, 201, 201, 201. No, I'm saying should be able to ping router 3 using its loopback 8 address. Excuse me. So loopback 8's address is actually 30.10.8.8. So I'm going to go to router 1, maximize, permit ICMP let's change this to, so I can show you a different loopback 8. What loopbacks do I have here? 8, 9, and 10. I'm going to change it to router 3 should be able to ping. Router 201 should be able to ping router 3 using its loopback 8, 9, and 10 addresses. So all 3. So back to router 1, I'm going to permit ICMP, which is the protocol ping works with. I'm going to permit ICMP 30. The source address is going to be 30.10.0.0 because loopback 8, 9, and 10 on router 201 have their third and fourth octet changing. So loopback 8 is 30.10.8.8, loopback 9 is 30.10.9.9, and loopback 10 is 30.10.10.10. So I'm going to have to permit, on router 1, permit ICMP 30.10.0.0. So I care about the first 2 octets, and I want to permit through anything in the last 2 octets. So I'm going to say, match the first octet with a 0, match the second octet, and permit anything in the third and the fourth octet. So 0.0.255.255 to router 3's address of 150.101.45.3. So I'm simply going to say host 150.101.45.3. I also could have used the 150.101.45.3 and then 0.0.0.0 option instead of the keyword host. Both do the same thing. I'm going to hit enter. Next, since I am going to apply this inbound on router 1's S000 interface, and router 201 is sending OSPF hellos to router 1, I want to make sure that implicit deny any statement at the end of every access list does not take down my routing, does not take down my OSPF. So I'm also going to have to permit, and if I execute the help feature, you see OSPF is an option. I'm going to say permit OSPF, And at this point, I can just simply say any. And then deny IP, any. Deny everything else, which is a good thing to do as far as security goes. Then I'm going to apply this access list inbound on serial 000 on router 1. So I went into the interface by saying interface serial 000, and I'm going to say IP access group, and then the group name was CCNA, and this is inbound. Now let's see if my access list works. Let's make sure it's in our running config. And there it is. And let's see if this worked. So first I'm going to try and telnet to router 3 from router 201, and it should not work. We look for our access list in our running config, and I just noticed that router 201's IP address on serial 010 is actually 200.200.200.2. And what I have permitted on router 1 is 200.200.200.3. So this access list won't work. What I can do is simply, instead of having to type this thing out over again, I can simply say copy, paste. I'll reduce the font a little bit so you guys can see the whole access list. And I'm going to delete this access list that I created and then recreate it through the magic of copy and paste. So if you do make a mistake, guys, like I just did, it is a simple matter of going to Notepad, putting a no in front of the IP access list extended CCNA command. That will delete this whole access list. And then I can just recreate it with the correct IP and copy and paste this whole thing back. So I don't even need to copy this. I just copy this portion, copy, go into router 1. Go into config mode and simply hit paste. So the no IP access list extended CCNA command took away the mistake, and then it immediately recreated and pasted the correct address, which is .2. Let me make sure this exists in my running config. Do show run. You have to be careful with access lists, guys. I made a simple typo, and it could have, if this was a live network, I could have been in big trouble for this. So I scroll down in my running config and make sure it's there. Yes, it is, and this is the correct address. And if I scroll up, I have applied the IP access group CCNA in command on my serial interface. So I can get rid of this and enlarge this again for you guys to see. That's too big. Okay. So router 201 should be denied from telnet access to router 3. Let's try and telnet from router 201 to router 3. Telnet 150.101.45.3. And it's not going to be able to telnet because the access list on router 1 is not allowing me to telnet. Now, secondly, says router 201 should not be able to ping router 3 using its serial 010 address. So if I just simply send a ping from router 201, by default, it's going to use the IP address on the outbound interface, which is 200.200.200.2. So this ping should also fail. So if I ping 150.101.45.3, I get a bunch of U's returned from router 1, which means destination unreachable. However, if I pick any one of these loopback interfaces as my source address to ping, it should work. So how do I pick an interface other than my outbound interface as my source address in a ping? That brings me to an extended ping. So you execute an extended ping by just typing in ping and hit enter. It asks me, are you going to use the protocol IP? I am, so I just hit enter. My target IP address is 150.101.45.3. And if I hit enter at this point, my repeat count is 5. Let's make this fun. Let's make this 50. I hit enter. My datagram size is 100. I'm going to keep it at 100. My timeout is 2 seconds. I'm going to keep it at 2 seconds by hitting enter. Now, when it asks me for extended commands, I'm going to say Y for yes. And you see now, it's asking me for a source address. Now I can pick loopback 8, 9, or 10 as my source address. So I'm going to pick 30.10.8.8 as my source address. And I'm just going to hit enter all the way through to the end because the other options do not matter to us. And of course, you see it is working. So if I go check my access list on router 1, I should have hits against all these entries. So show access list, and you see I have hits against all my entries. Now, the deny IP any does not have any hits because we did not test any commands that would deny me access. So I could possibly go to router 201 and show IP interface brief and include my loopback 0 address, which is 201.201.201 into OSPF by saying router OSPF 100 network 201.201.201.201 0000 area 1. The area between router 201 and router 1 is area 1. Go check to see that the 201 network propagated out to router 1 and router 3. Show IP route. And I see the 201 network is an OSPF route in my routing table. Should have also propagated out to router 3. Show IP route. And there it is. It's an inter-area route coming from area 1 to area 0, where router 3 is located. And if I now do an extended ping by picking the 201 address as my source address, I should see hits against that deny statement. So I say ping, enter, protocol IP. The target is 150.101.45.3. And then I go down to extended commands, say yes. And my source address I'm going to pick as the 201.201.201.201 address. Hit enter all the way to the end. And I get a destination unreachable message. So if I go down to router 1 now and check my access list by saying show access list, the deny IP any shows 5 matches against it. This concludes my extended access list lecture.